Hey folks, in this video we have gone full circle. It's January 2021 and in December of 2019 we started with this product and we have gone full circle. So this is going to be an unboxing and a review and a transition of using the ATEM Mini with the ATEM Mini ISO. So let's go. Hey folks, AJaytheCEO here. If this is your first time stop by the channel, thanks for stopping by. And on this channel, we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a patron or a YouTube member by clicking one of the links down below in the description. So I know, folks, when this first came out, I was like, well, honestly, for each one, when the Pro came out, I was like, oh, I don't need that because I have my live streaming computer. But then as doors started opening up for me, it kind of became a little bit more difficult for me to take an entire computer with me to start live streaming. So I ended up upgrading to the Pro. Love it. Opened up a lot of things, opened up multi-view, opened up things like that. And then when they announced the ISO, I was like, man, what type of nonsense is that? But as doors started opening, I started understanding the power of being able to record every single stream. Because at this point, I'm trying to look for tools to help simplify my workflow. So the fact of the ISO allows it to record every single feed that's coming into the device on every HDMI input. And from an editing standpoint, that makes so much sense because there's so many times I'll do videos like this and then I'll miss something and I go back and re-record it, or I missed this because I'm cutting in between scenes. And if I was just recording every single line that's coming in, it saves me time and it keeps it in sync. And this device actually will create a Davinci Resolve project file out of everything that I do, which will save me even more time because that's what I use for video editing. And before y'all ask, my ATEM Mini Pro is already spoken for, is being sold once I transition over to this. This is to a friend who's starting up his ministry and donating that to him. I mean, actually, he's paying for it, but it's going for them, so it's already been spoken for. But let's go ahead and cut over, and let's see what's inside. I already pretty much know what's already inside. All right, so we got our covering and all that other fun stuff that we open up with our fingernail. And I was actually in the process of doing another video, but then on my way downstairs to the mailroom, I met the FedEx guy with this package. So I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm getting ready to build and fix a computer, and with all the camera feeds being recorded, as well as the Davinci Resolve project and all this other stuff, I think this is going to be beneficial. So that's why I'm going to do this first, and then re-record the stuff that I was doing on fixing this computer. But anyway, we already got our software and everything installed. I'm actually using the Pro obviously right now to record this part. So let's see. Obviously we got our little booklets and all this other stuff. I need my stickers so we can add that to my collection. And there it is. I got a bunch of these now. So we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got tons of these things. Let's see how many we can go through, how many we can get. All right, so anyway, let's get this stuff out of the way. All right, we got our adapters and stuff like that, which I'm not going to use because I already have it. This has not changed. It's not like it requires more power or anything. So the idea is I'm just going to get this, swap out this one, keep my power cables and everything in place, and put this back in the box for my friend who's going to be using this. So I'm not going to toss the box like I normally would. All right. So again, not anything significantly different. I don't know how far I can stretch this one out. So obviously the exact same size, same button layouts, everything is pretty much exactly the same except for the naming and all this other fun stuff. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is disconnect everything, hook my stuff into this, and then we're going to transition over to this one. And I'm already recording with my SSD, so I'm going to transition this over, open up the software, and then see what we get. And do we notice anything different? We are on my Pocket Cinema camera here. See how all that shows up. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the timeline and everything like that works for the editing. So let's go ahead, cut over to me hooking up everything, and we go from there. All right, folks, so we have converted over. We are now on the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. And if we cut over here, you can see we're over here. Cool. My camera is still upside down. I haven't had my overhead fixed yet, so we'll switch this, but we'll switch it in post. Either way, this is cool. Now, let's cut over here to the software. And as you can see, we have this rolling right now. We're recording this. Our file name, our project name right now is called ATEM. And that's going to be really important for what I show you down the road. Again, this is mainly for the workflow. I've also changed my names of all my inputs from the Pocket Cinema camera, my PC, the Sony camcorder, the ZV-1, added those names. This is important as well too. We have it checked off. We are not recording to the camera. If I had this checked off, it would engage and record on the settings for the Pocket Cinema camera, and it will put it in time, which would be really cool. And I'm going to do that here for a second. We're going to just start that. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording just in case. So we're going to be recording on the SSD that's connected to the Pocket Cinema camera, which is in 4K, but we are also going through here, and the ISO will record all of this. And I'm going to show you the awesomeness of the workflow that's going to hopefully make all of this a lot simpler. So let's cut back over here to our overhead, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. We're going to cut over to our overhead, and we're just going to cycle through our inputs. So we have our Pocket Cinema camera. Number 1 input. Number 2 is our computer. Number 3 is my camcorder over here. Yay. Or we started, well, the first camera I upgraded to from the Logitech C920. Then our recent is the Sony ZV-1. Awesome. Now I'm going to switch between these and do cuts. All right, and we're going to change the duration here of our switch here to 2 seconds. And let's switch back, do a fade here, a 2-second fade that takes a while to transition to. And if we look over here in the software, we're going to directly cut and put our image back up here. As you can see, we have our rate here back to 1 second. We had it at 2, and I'm pressing the direct buttons on the ATEM Pro ISO to make those changes. And really cool. It has a time generator, which is going off of my current time right now, which is 9:30 p.m. Eastern. All right. And that's how I have it set as time of day. And that's what is embedding into all of this recording, and that's what makes it syncs. So now let me go ahead and start the recording on vMix so that I can keep this in sync. And what I'm going to do is now let's stop the recording on the ATEM directly. And let's cut over here. And we're going to unplug our SSD from the ATEM and connect it to the computer. And we're here now. Let's open up my computer. We're going to go to my H drive, which is the SSD, and you can see we called our file structure ATEM. We have an ATEM folder in here. So if I hit record again, it would make ATEM 1, ATEM 2, ATEM 3. If it sees that folder already exists, it's going to start appending. It's not going to add the stuff into there, and it's going to make a new project. But inside of this, we open this up. We have our Davinci Resolve project, which is awesome. We have, every time we've hit the record button, we have the master here. So we recorded twice. So this is the first one, and then here's the second one that we did. And these are the Mac equivalent files here. We also have a folder called audio source, where it's actually recording the audio for every single input. Now I have the audio off, so if I was to play this, it isn't going to play anything. But I don't know. Let me actually confirm that. I stand corrected. It actually does record the audio that is being over those sources. So that's cool. I didn't recognize that. So that's 3. That was coming from the camcorder. Number 4 is the ZV-1. And of course, media player is acting up. So let's go ahead and manually open it. So yeah, so it actually so that's cool. So it actually recorded from here. Now I can copy the audio from camera number 2, which is my computer, but I didn't have any audio going to that. I'm wondering, I don't have Windows saying that the ATEM was my sound. So it should just be, yeah, it's just complete silence. But that's awesome. I thought it would only have recorded audio if I had the audio on the actual device, but I don't. The only thing I had on was the audio for my Evo 4, excuse me, with my pod mic on it. So that's really cool. But anyway, learn something new. So it has all my audio sources. We also have all our video sources. So we have video for every single thing that the camera was capturing at the time. So if I cut over here to camera number 3, which was the one, my camcorder. Well, actually, let me go to my overhead, which was number 4. All right, folks, so we have converted over. We are now on the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. And if you come over here, you can see we're over here. Cool. So as you can see, that was the ISO. So I wasn't even on that camera. Then at the end, I switched over to 4, and that's awesome. So I have all of this. So now this is the best part that I'm looking forward to here. Let's go ahead and double click on the Resolve project. Now, normally what I would do is actually copy all of this over to my drive and not run everything off of the SSD. The USB-C is fast enough. I am going through a hub, but that's the only thing that's on it right now. For me, I would copy over that entire folder. Now, the one thing I did not do, let me actually do it right now. I'm undoing the SSD that was on my BlackMagic camera. And let me come back out here again. So I'm going to hook this up to my computer as well. Let me get another USB cable. All right. So let's hook this up. So we have 2 drives here. Now I did not clear off all the recording that's on here. So let's cut back over to the computer. And let's open up my computer here, and let's find that other drive, which is here. And let's look for the recording, which is both of these. Okay, so that's recorded in BlackMagic Raw, the higher codec and settings and all the other stuff that I have. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and memorize. Let's go ahead and minimize this. And here is the project open. Let me switch this to a single screen so this is a lot easier for y'all to see. All right, so it took every name that I had for my inputs and it's embedded inside of the file. So now it has the name of every camera input that I had on the ATEM. So there's the BlackMagic Pocket Cinema camera, camcorder, overhead, PC. And if I click on it, all of my data video files for each source is there. Really, really cool. But it also makes a folder for BlackMagic Raw. So I can come over here and drag over my files that were recorded on my BlackMagic camera, and the timing is all in sync. So if I come over here to the edit, it already had everything laid out. So remember when I was making all these cuts and jumps and everything like that? There's my fades. There's everything that I did from the console has been translated to my timeline. So here's my fade. And if you cut over here, you can see we're over here. And as you can see, I'm bringing in my audio from Cam 1 input, but it switches back and forth. Camera 1, camera 4, camera 2, all this other stuff like that. So this is the master. My cam operator. And as you can see, we have this. Awesome. So as you can see, everything is already integrated into what we did. That we did live in here. So you got to sit back and think. If I was doing this for like a wedding or a football game or something like that, and I missed something, well, first off, how I produced it, I just have to double click on it, because normally when I edit and do everything, this is what I'm doing. And I'm cutting back and forth, putting my transitions and all this other stuff. And I add my intro, outros, and all this other stuff, lower thirds, graphics, sound effects, all of this. But in this workflow, it really gets to the point, if I can do all of this through the ATEM, there's so less work that I would have to do in post-production. Like if this was really done outside of any corrections and stuff, I normally would put my intro here. I would make a cut where I would do my intro video, my lower thirds with my name, title, and everything like that. So that's really cool. So here is a stop where I stopped recording and I started recording again. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording. Now this, based off of what this happens, we should be able to now go over here to our BlackMagic footage here and bring that over, and this should be in sync with what we just did at the same time where it started recording. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording. Now let me make sure I did not mess that up. I think I put the wrong file there. All right, so now I'm just bringing this over and I'm gonna play it and see, does it play at this in the same time? Oh, maybe if I hit play. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording. Now let me change the proxy to this because it is running from my SSD. I would have copied this over because that's pulling all that. It's pulling both the data on this from both my SSDs. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording just in case. So we're going to be recording on the SSD that's connected. So it looks like it's in time. Let me actually get a smaller file out of here. So technically, if we have all of this, we can cut back over here and let's cut over here to the camcorder and let's bring the footage of that over. That's file number 2. That's where we're at. I'm just going to bring it over here and see it is already in sync because everything is being recorded at the same time. So that is really sweet. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording just in case. So we're going to be recording on the SSD that's connected. All right, so you can see it's perfectly in line. So let's do the overhead camera 2. And as you can see from the waves, they're exactly the same. All right, so I just happened to stop and start the recording just in case. So we're going to be recording on. So because we recorded everything, if I ever wanted to cut back over and be like, you know what, I want to have my overhead footage right here, it's already in time. And I can just bring it into the timeline and just cut and copy where I need it to be. And that is, man, that's going to save a lot of time. That's awesome. So, like, you got to think, for me, in this perspective, if I happen to be doing a wedding, I can actually just put up maybe 2 stationary wide shots of camcorders, DSLRs, whatever that I want in the back, put one in the front to look at the audience, run a long SDI cable, convert it over, plug it back into the ATEM, have another camera in the back, and then be able to record the whole thing. And I have my main mix that I'm making on the fly by using the controls in the ATEM, but I always have extra B-roll footage that I can use from those other cameras because it's recording everything at the same time. Man, that's awesome. So I'm really excited about that. And going forward, hopefully we're going to see how much time this helps me do from a recording standpoint. Because I'm going to literally take everything that we just did, and I'm recording this last section through vMix, and I should be able to I'm just going to actually just paste this on here just so y'all can see the flow of it. And I guess I think this is going to go too long, but I'm going to edit this and go back to my 2 screens so it's easier for me to do this. But I'm really excited about this. Now, again, the first time when they did announce this, honestly, to be honest, I was against the Pro at first from the ATEM Mini because to go from 300 to 600, I didn't understand the justification of that price. But once I ended up getting it because of the work I was doing, it was getting difficult to carry my whole computer around with me. And the Pro allowed me to live stream. I was happy with that. They did the ISO. I didn't have any reason for that. But then doors started opening up to where I'm doing more projects. Like I did that wedding that I did, showed how I did a virtual wedding. And I'm just doing more projects. We get back to recording sports because we still can't have people come to games and stuff like that. I can literally don't have to worry about controlling the camera. I can have one camera just to zoom in on the action, but then just have cameras to cover certain aspects of a field. And then I can come back behind it and edit it if I need to. So that's really, really awesome. So depending on your workflow, if you're doing a lot of stuff like with video editing and stuff like that, and you're using Davinci Resolve, this is going to save so much time. So again, it wasn't my initial desire to get one of these, but as my workflow has gone and now me just playing around with it, it's really going to save a lot of time compared to what I normally do with putting all this stuff together. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm almost tempted about hooking this up at my church and just have it record all the inputs. But again, we have 6 cameras at our church, so obviously this won't work. Now, I will say this. The higher end ATEM switchers are beyond overdue for some added features and updates. If they do the ATEM Television Studio with 8 inputs, have encoding built into it, and it can record every single input and have all the features that the ATEM Mini Pro ISO has into it, BlackMagic, please make that happen. Because that's a big device, but I would definitely think about getting one of those. And especially if they come out with something like that and it's a church and y'all are trying to do editing, oh my gosh, that would be so awesome to do, because You already have it. You can learn Davinci Resolve by just playing around with this, and it makes everything for you. And then you can see how it works, and you can add more. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm excited about this. So I'm thankful that this was a wise decision. Don't feel like I wasted any money in it, because I'm going to get some good use out of it. So anyway, like I said, if you have any questions, some other things you want me to test out, please let me know down below. And thank y'all so much. And so if you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. I want to thank the patrons and the YouTube members for making this video possible. Their names are on the screen right now, and you too can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, or you can become a YouTube member by clicking the join button down below. Because no matter which way you pick, folks, you are helping us train media ministries all over the world. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ, and we will see you on the next video. Later.